مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي، كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه. رحلا تمر وكم كرهت مصابها، لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا. كم مرة قد ضقت من عظم البال.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Over the past month and a half, if not going on 2 months, we have been focusing our attention on the contradictions of the ultra Najdis slash Super Salafees in connection to Muhammad Ibn Abdul Wahab and the early Najdiyyah. And you can see the thumbnails, the Takfeeri tendencies of the early Najdiyyah part 3, which was a 2.5 hour lengthy video. Many thumbnails, as you can see, is just continuous, and it just shows that when faced with hard facts, then either excuses start to pop up. They start to bring forth excuses, start to bring forth technicalities. When presented with the evidence, when presented with the hard facts that has literally slapped them across the face, when we have presented it in context, so it's not as if we're taking some version of events out of the 40 or 50 or 60 plus years that the early Najdiyyah, especially the first Najdi state that obviously took over the Arabian Peninsula with, again, politically motivated takfir against this sort of the greys were being worshipped. All of this was just the secondary sort of reasons, and that was due to enforcing, or if not supporting, Muhammad bin Saud in expanding his reign, his kingdom across Al-Arid and Al-Najd. But this ain't the particular video to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about in this particular video is to show the contradictions that these Super Salafees slash ultra Najdis have. Now there's a wide spectrum when it comes to the Salafis or the Salafi movement or Salafiyah. Again, whatever labels you want to add or throw, be my guest. But the hard facts are that you see all the contradictions kicking in. You see all the contradictions kicking in when you present them with the reality. So, like for example, now you got the Takfeeriyun, who are brazen, who are forthcoming, who are open with saying kafir or these are kuffar, based on what? The principles laid down by Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab and the early Najdiyyah. So they are following this methodology to a T, an absolute T. Whereas you have these fraudsters and charlatans, like the mentally deranged freak, Abdurrahman Hassan, and all these, phonies that speak in the name of Najdiyyah, trying to pretend that they are following upon the methodology of the early Da'wah to Najdiyyah, or if not Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab, but it's a heretical version that they're following. And one can say, and honestly, this is an admission that they know, deep down they know that Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab is a takfiri, he is a radical, and he is an extremist. But because they have now been pushing this sort of narrative and sugarcoating or whatever you want to call it, they don't have sincerity enough to say yes. Yes, he was an extremist and a radical when it comes to takfir. Yes, he is responsible in the early Da'wah to Najdiyyah for what we see today, the true manifestation, i.e. like ISIS and whoever else, Boko Haram, and whoever else you want to throw under there. And whatever refutations that they refute Dawa'ish with, easily you could apply on Muhammad Abdul Wahab in the early Da'wah to Najdiyyah. But they won't label them. Like, look the other way. Let's pretend that, this didn't happen, or pretend that, bloody hell, this is not something we want to address. Let me be completely honest. You guys don't follow Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab and the early Da'wah to Najdiyyah. You take the agreed upon position of the Athari Creed, which we all agree upon. I agree upon that you affirm Allah's names and attributes in a manner that befits His Majesty. Okay, I as an Athari, I affirm that. So that means I agree with Muhammad Abdul Wahab in this bab, no problem. But if you look at his methodology as a whole, Imam San'ani, Imam Shawkani refuted him. You can hear the birds. Imam San'ani, Imam Shawkani refuted him. Imam San'ani took it back. He said, I retract from this position that I initially praised him with, I retract from this. Imam Shawkani also did the same. So these two grand imams didn't know. So I'm sidetracking a bit. Let's just get to the video. Again, it's my habit that I'll do waffle on a bit. In recent times, we've had groups emerge committing all sorts of atrocities, and we don't need to go into the details. We know, what's happened in the Middle East, in Syria, in Iraq, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, atrocities, massacres, innocent civilians being killed, and likewise in Europe as well. And what we have found is that the Salafis come out and openly, refute it and make themselves clear that Islam doesn't permit these sort of actions, and we agree with them, and we accept that this is the valid position in Islam. Yes, we have rules of engagement, i.e. in what's it called, like the Prophet ﷺ says, do not attack women and children, do not cut down trees, do not attack those in the monasteries or the monks, etc. We've got rules of engagement in Islam when it comes to these sort of matters. But we're talking about the recent phenomenon of groups such as ISIS and their likes, and what they've done. And this is obviously common knowledge, so it's not as if to say where's the proof. We're going to present one such example, but we're talking about the atrocities that they committed all over the world. Extremist groups who in essence are the followers of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab. I just need to get that out there because this is where the contradiction lies. They've attacked places of worship, they've attacked mosques, worshippers whilst in prayer. Let's just get that out there as well. And who was the first people to do that, by the way? I'm not calling them Khawarij, but definitely got Khariji traits. But who were the first people to attack worshippers, especially whilst in Salah? Okay, you know the answer to that, so let's move on from that. And in 2015, and again, this is just one example. There's many. Egypt, there's many examples. Pakistan, there's many examples. Iraq, there's many examples. Syria, there's many examples. We don't need to go into the specifics of each particular country, but you know the pattern. And again, the foundation and who they follow is obviously going to be, or we're going to expand on it later. So in 2015, as you can see on screen, okay, there was a horrific attack on a mosque. ISIS declared responsibility for this attack. They killed over 15 people. I think the majority of the deceased were Saudi Arabian soldiers, and they went in. One of the extremists went in there and blew himself up and killed the worshippers inside a mosque. So they killed, as you can see, all the photos are there. They killed about 15 people inside the mosque. This action is absolutely despicable and abhorrent. And the Salafis, the Super Salafees, the Ultra Najdiyyah would agree with me. Whoever it may be, whether it be Abdul Rahman Hassan, whether it be the mental deranged freak, whether it be Dawah Man, whether it be whoever it may be, Muslims would condemn this action. And attacking places of worship, it's an absolute crime. Now, the extremist groups justified this attack. Okay, the extremist groups justified this attack. So they made it clear that this action that they committed, I think it was ISIS who claimed responsibility. They justified this act, and what they use as justification, okay, will show you that Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab and the early Da'wat al-Najdiyyah are the spiritual forefathers of this understanding and this application, of attacking mosques. They use as justification the actions and the fatwa and the methodology of the early Da'wat al-Najdiyyah, the Muhammad Abdul Wahab and his followers and his sons, etc., etc., or his grandsons. And as you can see on screen, we've got a prominent scholar by the name of Dr. Khalid al-Muslih. Okay, Dr. Khalid al-Muslih. And he basically tweeted, I swear by Allah that indeed the book, meaning the Quran, and the Sunnah, meaning the sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Jama'ah, meaning his companions and those after him, meaning the Muslims at large, are free from them. And then he puts a hashtag of the explosion against the emergency Saudi forces. So underneath you find a response by a ISIS supporter. Now again, as I said before, they are the true followers of the methodology of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab. Like I said, all of these muppets and charlatans that you see today, who are basically closet Takfeeris, not brave enough like the ISIS supporters who are the true followers, and they call them radicals, which they refute, which is good. But when I've released all my videos, I've done about 16, 17 videos on this genre, silence. And even one of them, the mental deranged freak, okay, as you can see on screen, except that no one needs to make a response unless I, apologize. Why do I need to apologize for you to condemn massacres and, attacks on mosques, etc.? Why do I need to apologize? Don't you think you need to come out and openly condemn this as you're the one that's cheerleading this da'wah and this methodology? At least say, yes, they are radical and extremists, but you don't know, they place conditions. You see, they're very, very deceptive. Anyway, getting back to this. So this ISIS supporter responds back to Dr. Khalid al-Musleh, and he says, we walk or we tread on the path of al-Mujaddid Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab. So he's using it as justification, okay, Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab's actions. Those who read Arabic can see, but I'm just sort of trying to break it down. So he's saying we tread on the path, or we walk on the path or the approach of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab. So you see, ISIS is making it clear, or their supporters or their cheerleaders, that attacking this mosque is the approach and the way of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab. Now we know what Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab did. And again, we're going to now get the answer from the ISIS supporter himself. The one that killed, the one who was praying, Uthman bin Muammar, who was killed where? In his mosque on the day of Jum'ah. Let's repeat that back, and I'm going to read it all now. This extremist responds back to Dr. Khalid al-Musleh, who obviously said these are got nothing to do with Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is, Takfeeris, these are this, they are that, they are mujrims, they are this, they are al-mufsidun, etc. He says this person who is justifying this attack on a mosque says, we tread on the path of al-Mujaddid, the reviver, Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab, who killed in prayer Uthman bin Muammar, killed Uthman bin Muammar. I'm going to pray. We're going to give you the quotes in his masjid on the day of Jum'ah. Now coming back to me. You see the justification here. They've attacked a mosque and they've killed 15 worshippers. So this is abhorrent. This is condemned. This is absolutely diabolical. This is extremism. This is unacceptable. This is vile. This is I could use as much adjectives as I possibly can to describe this. Yet what you find is these supporters of Dawa'ish openly saying that we are following on the path of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab, who killed himself a worshipper, Uthman bin Muammar. We're going to get to his story now, just to remind you. Uthman bin Muammar in his mosque on the day of Jum'ah. Now this happened, and I already gave you the backdrop, okay? And as you can see from the thumbnail, I took an extract out to show you and obviously explain the story out of the 2.5 hour video that I did. What is the story of Uthman bin Muammar? What is the story? Now, I'm going to give you the background of it. I don't want to place it on screen. I'm going to put the link, the cards on this particular timing. You can click on the top right or the top left. I can't remember, top right, top left. And you could watch that video. It's an extract from my 2.5 hour video. To summarize the story, because I'm going to place the actual evidence from their own testimony, from eyewitness accounts, that they killed him in the mosque on Yawm al-Jum'ah. So this is anything just, lies issued by this extremist who is a fanboy of Dawa'ish. Again, in essence, he's following on Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab, and he's raining a bit now, so I'm trying to make it quick. Is that Uthman bin Muammar, had a disagreement and a spat with Abdul Aziz ibn Muhammad bin Saud, the son of Muhammad bin Saud, the founding father, and the son-in-law of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab. Long story short, they just had a disagreement, they had a spat. But Uthman bin Muammar went back. Abdul Aziz went back to Ad-Dar'iyyah, told or informed Muhammad bin Saud, his father, Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab, his father-in-law, what happened, and obviously they accused him of being a traitor, etc. So they've issued takfir upon him. In order to justify this attack, to kill him, they had to make him an apostate based on suspicion that apparently he's allied with the enemy, allied with some tribe. And all it was a disagreement about when to enter into this particular fortress, because the majority of the soldiers or the foot soldiers were with Uthman ibn Muammar. So they went into the mosque, as you can see on screen. But here's the story. 1163 this happened, and basically Uthman ibn Muammar finished his Jum'ah prayer. So he's in the mosque. He's finished his Jum'ah prayer, and as he was basically leaving, to meet the people, etc., they killed him in the mosque. This is in Anwan al-Majd by Ibn Bish, Tariq al-Najd by Ibn Ghanam, and he also mentions the same story that they killed him and others in the mosque after Jum'ah Salat in Rajab in the year 1163. None of them thus far have come out openly to declare Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab and the early Najdiyyah as extremists and radicals and Takfeeris, because that's what they were. You know, they, like I said, for 20 years they've been Islam against extremism, as you can see from the Madakhila. You got mental deranged freak, who said, we are not with them.
Because we are not with these people. We oppose these people. We are not on their aqidah, on their belief. We oppose their extremism, their radical views. We have nothing whatsoever to do with them.
So then you've got obviously Abdurrahman Hassan making videos against ISIS. You got Dawah Man making videos against ISIS, etc. Now, Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab laid the foundation for these extremists that we see today. It's no secret that they are ultimately the founding spiritual godfathers of this movement. Anyone who's got, eyes, and anyone who's got vision, whether it's vision inside the heart or vision with their eyes, would realize that this is clear that Muhammad Abdul Wahab is a true manifestation of the original extremist. No doubt about it. They killed for 70 years. So all of these people that you find condemning the extremists don't realize that you could easily apply this to Muhammad Abdul Wahab. Now this is coming out. We're bringing this forth, not because we want to be rebels and just show him to be an extremist and a radical. What we're showing you is your contradiction. We're showing you your contradictive methodology, that you're willing to come out and condemn them or these groups of people when it suited you, when it was worthwhile because you wanted to free yourself from them. But they are, in essence, those who you refuting were the actual followers and the true representation of the early Da'wah to Najdiyyah. It's not rocket scientists, people. So I've been humbly requesting all of you, to at least accept that Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab was an extremist and a radical per your own testimony when you're pointing the finger that way. Now, as you know, you point one finger and three fingers point back at you. 3 fingers, not 4.
Sunnah are fair. We are fair people. When we point with a finger, 4 fingers point to us. We are not unfair.
Okay, unless you've got a hidden finger somewhere. The crux of the matter is now, and I keep repeating the same thing, we are fed up of your silly contradictive methodology. We are fed up. You are walking hypocrites. And this is why I think there's more videos, by the way. There's more to show you that they, meaning the neo-Salafis, the ultra-Najdis, the Super Salafees, the Madakhila, are the essence of what? A heretical movement which is born out of the original dawah. The original dawah, which is the true representation of ISIS and their likes. The ones that follow them, meaning that you see the Takfeeriyun today, they're the ones that you can say, you guys are the true followers of Muhammad Abdul Wahab. Anyone else, you guys are, honestly speaking, I don't even know how you show your face and try to, defend your positions, because you just contradict yourself. And I said, keep talking, keep making tweets. You're just giving me more fuel and ammunition. Let's summarize. In 2015, they attacked a mosque, killing 15 people. They admitted responsibility. I think ISIS admitted responsibility, killing 15 people inside a mosque. They justified it by using Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab when they killed and attacked Uthman ibn Muammar. This was their justification. Ultimately, look at the actual root of this extremism. Who is it? Who is the root of this extremism? What we could say is the root that's been planted for this Takfiri methodology, and it's been and it's grown, and the tree has grown, and then you see the branches of this tree. Who in essence is the actual root? Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab and the early Najdiyyah. So you notice that they subtly justify it. That's the key word I'm trying to use here. Subtly, they're not brazen to come out and admit it, because it would basically expose them for the mere Takfiris they are. But they're closet Takfiris. They just keep it hidden, and then they'll respond here and there with a little, technicality, or trying to, make out that they're against it, but then they somehow try to add their own spin into it. Look, we can see right through your BS. Honestly, we can see right through your BS. So let's put out the names again. Mental deranged freak, Shimrani. Okay, attacking mosques or killing people in mosques is justified. Yeah. Okay. Extremists and radicals, as you label Takfiri. Muhammad Abdul Wahab is an extremist and a radical. Why can't you say that? And to you, Abdurrahman Hassan, you did a 2-hour plus condemning ISIS, calling them all sorts, Khawarij, etc. And now we're asking you to do the same. Call Muhammad Abdul Wahab an extremist and radical. We're not asking you to call them Khawarij, because I don't believe they're Khawarij. I don't believe Muhammad Abdul Wahab and the early Da'wah to Najdiyyah are Khawarij. Yes, they had Khariji traits, but they're not Khawarij, because like I said before, I keep explaining it, that they have to follow the usul of the Khawarij, which is to make takfir for major sins. That is the usul. Go to all the books of firq. You notice. Go to Al-Shahrastani's book Al-Milal wal-Nihal. Go to Al-Firqu Bayn al-Firq. You can find the asal is that you make takfir for major sins. Okay, that is the asal. Now, getting back to the question. Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab and the early Da'wat al-Najdiyyah are extremists, as per what we presented. The true followers of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab and the early Da'wat al-Najdiyyah are the takfiriyun of today. Khalas. Simple. And you need to be bold enough to accept that. So until the next video, take care of yourselves. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.
آمنت أن الآخرة لا بد يوما آتية كل الخلائق حاضرة كل السرائر بادية في موقف ما أعظم لم تخف منهم خافية والهول فيهم قد بدا الشمس منهم دانية في موقف ما أعظم لم تخف منهم خافية والهول فيهم قد بدا الشمس منهم دانية